This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
What up, guys? It's your girl, Jocy J here, and I'm here with Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J, and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with J2B, Jocy J.
What up, y'all? It's me, Jocy J.
And how are you today?
I'm doing good today. Can't complain.
And where is Jocy going to just be too brutal next, event-wise?
You guys can catch me in the WWN Network. It's always live on Facebook and on YouTube. And I do have a lot of upcoming bookings. You guys just have to be tuned. Just keep tuned, man, because I'm going everywhere. Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, you name it. Just stay tuned, y'all.
Hell yeah. And where can we stay tuned social media-wise?
You can stay tuned on my Instagram at BXJocyJ, on my Facebook at JocyJBX, and on my YouTube, Jocy J is J2B.
And merchandise?
My merch, I am not currently selling merch yet. I am working on a lot of it now, though.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Yes.
Well, let's get into it. You currently just won the EGCW Women's Championship by beating Rico Moon. Can you tell us about that moment and that experience?
Yes. So originally it was supposed to be a fatal four-way, but it got knocked down to just Rico and I, which was perfect because one-on-one, just me and the champ, it really solidified the moment, you know? So it was, I would say, I think refreshing, especially since I just came back a month ago from my accident, and not even a month in and I was already a champion, you know? So it was really an amazing moment and a relief as well. Like, I'm doing this on my own now. I was with my partner for almost 2.5 years, but we did have a falling out. So it's kind of, I'm still adjusting to being by myself, but right now I think this solo career is doing well for me, and winning that EGCW championship just said it all, you know?
It kind of gave you that confidence as a singles wrestler.
Yes, it did.
Was there, because you said it was a fatal four-way and then it just got knocked down to a singles match, any adjusting on the fly?
Yes, there was a lot of adjusting on the fly because it's kind of a big step going from a fatal four-way to just a one-on-one, you know?
Right.
So, and Rico, he's not, you know, in his 20s. I'm not trying to throw shade, you know? So there was a lot of things I had to do to at least take care of him too. But since it was a no DQ, I couldn't be too soft on him, you know? I had to show out why I'm violent, why I'm too violent, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I brought out my brutal side. I hit him with a freaking keyboard, and the pieces just popped out everywhere. And it was just a moment that right after that, I won that championship, and it was nice to have the fans cheer my name too, because in a lot of places there aren't a lot of fans there. You know, I've wrestled in places with like 8 people in the crowd, 12 people in the crowd. I even wrestled one time where only my mom and my dad were in the crowd, you know? So it was really cool to have a packed house cheering on your name and having them support you through the whole match, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And this isn't your first encounter with Rico. I believe that he cost you this very title against Eliza Haze.
Eliza Haze, yes. That was a year ago. It was just Eliza and I, and he popped in himself in that match, and he decided to include himself. Did nothing, but right at the end, when I thought I was gonna win, he cost me the title, and he beat Eliza. He pinned her. And I've been seeking out my revenge for an entire year.
Now, holding that championship, is that a moment that you take in the moment, or is that something that kind of sets in afterwards, like, wow, I did this?
I think I would say afterwards, because in the moment, you're so nervous to not mess up in your match. So my thing was, I want this to go as smoothly as possible and get it over with, because we were on a time crunch. So I just wanted to get it in between that time and to make it perfect as possible. And afterwards, when I heard De La Rosa just say my name, like, and your new EGCW Women's Champion, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is real, guys. I'm a champion again. And it felt really good. And in my face, I don't know if you've seen the video, but at one point I looked up to the sky, because I was like, bro, thank the Lord that I am able to do this again, because after my accident, I couldn't move, and it just feels good to be back in a ring in general. So it was quite a good moment.
Now, on that subject, you was injured from July of 2023 to to February.
March. Yeah, February. I was cleared, and I was just looking for the right booking to just step into, if that made sense.
Could you tell us what was the injury that you had?
So, I injured my back completely. It wasn't broken, thank God. It was just, how do I say it? It was injured to the point where it was stiff for a very long time. Like, I would still be able to go to work, but I couldn't do no heavy lifting. It was uncomfortable to sit down, to lay down. And it wasn't just my back. It was also my neck, my ribs, I believe also my hips. But my hips weren't injured for too long. Those actually ended up being a quick heal. But my back and my neck were really messed up for a while, and I had to take a lot of physical therapy and a lot of pain meds. And my mom, she even got me these like massagers for your neck and your back to like relieve the tension, because it was so bad and painful that I couldn't move for a while. Even if I went to work for like 10 hours, I would come home and my back and my neck were just stiff, and I just had to sit with ice and the massagers, and it was even uncomfortable to sleep because the pain, and they were like, oh, you have to sleep elevated, and 2, that's uncomfortable as well. So it was a while before I could even step in a gym to work out or even be cleared. So it was difficult. It was difficult, I would say.
And that wasn't something that happened in the ring, right?
No, it was not. I was in a car accident. My partner, we swerved off the road and hit a tree. So that was a really harsh impact, and it injured both of us. Unfortunately, I don't have contact with her anymore because we're not friends. We don't speak anymore, but I know her and I really did get it bad. So
during that time where you was injured, was there any like question of you possibly coming back, or was it always dead set in your mind, no, I'm making a return?
Here's the thing, I didn't want to think about, I'm never returning. I don't think it's a possibility that I won't be able to return. I always had it in my mind that either way, I'm coming back to that ring. Either way, I'm going to wrestle. Every ounce of this recovery is going back to that ring. And I didn't want to go a whole year without wrestling because you get ring rusty, and I just didn't want that rust to be obvious, you know? So, especially when this is something you really want, it never leaves your mind, ever. So my wrestling, it stayed in my mind. I know my stuff from the back of my hand. So I was like, I don't even need to, not to sound cocky or anything, but I just feel like, I don't think I need to go to training because I know my steps. I don't miss my footing. I know my hand placements. I know everything. And it never leaves your mind regardless. Now, when I was recovering, I did not watch my wrestling at all. I didn't watch anything of my matches because it was just a reminder that, damn, I'm not doing this now. And it just hurt. It hurt to think about it. So that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't watch any of my wrestling. And it was even hard to watch wrestling in general because you see so many of your friends advancing and you're so happy for them and you're proud. And then you look at where you are, and you're like, damn, this freaking injury just ruined it all. And it took me about 6 months, I believe, to even get back in the gym. And no, lies, not 6. It took 6 months to heal my back, I would say, because my neck is still not cleared and I'm still wrestling. But it took me about 3.5 months to get back into the gym. And even then I couldn't do any heavy lifting. So it was just a lot of just treadmill and bike and stretches, you know, before I ever went back to weightlifting, because I do weightlifting as well. So it was a hard transition, but it never left my mind that I'm like, yes, I'm going back into wrestling. I do need to save up, and I really want to wrestle again. That is my end goal here. So it never left my mind.
Now, getting back to the ring, you can't really talk about Jocy J without mentioning her rivalry with Ravyn Knight.
Yes.
Can you tell us about Ravyn Knight?
Yes. I hate her. Just kidding, guys. Ravyn Knight, we met 3.5 years ago, and she was my first outside of my school training. She was my first booking match. So my first booking was against her, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw her, I was like, this chick knows what she's doing. She looks awesome. She looks like she could really put on a show, you know? And at the time, I was a heel, and she was one too. But, you know, in a match, one got to be babyface, one has to be a heel. So I was like, someone's going to have to make a switch, and I know it's going to be me because I just started, like, 10 months ago, so I had no say in anything. So I know that I was a tweener in the match, and the match ended because she did an Eddie Guerrero. She gave me a chair. She bumped, made it seem like I hit her with the chair, and then that was the end of it. And ever since then, everywhere I would say I am booked, she is also there. And she's someone I'm really comfortable with wrestling. She's really someone that I have chemistry with in that ring, regardless of how the outcomes go. Like, if she cheats, I cheat, regardless. She is one of the wrestlers that I have major chemistry with. Her and Eliza Haze were my biggest rivalries everywhere I went. We were really always going at it. But Ravyn is someone I really do hold dear in my heart. She's literally one of my best friends in the business, and she has brought me a long way as well. I thank her, and I will forever be indebted to her because she's brought me to a lot of places, and I love the experience everywhere I go. And she's really someone I could count on too. So I love beating her up, and I love hugging her afterwards.
Well, you mentioned Eliza Haze. Love Eliza
Yes.
Haze.
Yes.
It does seem like she was maybe a big influence at the early stages of your career, no?
Yes, she was. In a promotion I was at, LCCW, I wrestled her many times. And then even outside of LCCW, I wrestled her EGCW, and we even went to Alabama together. We wrestled a lot, and I would say she was my greatest enemy because we were always going at it. If it wasn't one booking, it was the other. And if it wasn't against me, it was against my partner at the time, BB. So Eliza was a big deal for our careers as well. So I would say thank you to her. And before she left, I told her, listen, I'm going to miss you because you have been the one to basically start and continue my career as well. So it was great. And I even wrestled her on WWN Shine, which was a big deal too. And even though I never really beat her, I don't think I've ever won against her, but it was still, it was great for the experience. And it got to the point where every match we were going in, I was like, I know you have the back of my hand. You don't need to tell me what you're going to do. And I don't need to tell you what I'm going to do because you already know what I'm going to do. And it was basically, at the end, it wouldn't even be a wrestling match. It'll just be a dance because we already knew each other from the back of our hands.
And shout out to Eliza, friend of the show.
Shout out to Eliza. Love you, girl.
Now, you mentioned, you had a tag team partner, BB,
Yes.
back in the day, but, no longer a tag team.
Yes.
Now that you are, primarily a singles wrestler, is there, like, a different mindset that you go into pro wrestling, or are you possibly looking to find a new tag team partner?
Currently, I am not interested in having another tag team partner. It was difficult to go our separate ways in the first place because we built such a formation with our tag team, and we were literally going everywhere together as a female tag team. And in Florida, that's really rare because in the indies, there's not a lot of females to wrestle. And in order to wrestle as a tag team, like female tag team, you would have to build a storyline, bring more women in, and then eventually get that tag team, female tag team match. Oops. And it got to the point where her and I would just wrestle male tag teams everywhere. And it was, how do I say it? It got easy after a while. Just, we can't find female wrestlers. Oh, we can wrestle guys. But a lot of promotions don't support the intergender matches.
Right.
So it was kind of hard for her and I to find two opponents. So it got where I had to wrestle one person and she had to wrestle one person. I'll just be the manager or she'll just be the manager. So it'll be vice versa. And she'll be outside the ring, we'll cheat to win. And vice versa, I'll be outside the ring, we'll cheat to win. And I loved being in that tag team because it was unique, it was rare. A lot of girls weren't doing it like how we were. And I just loved being able to work around everything we could as a team. But it was getting, like I said, it was getting difficult for us to, oh my gosh. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Continue.
So, oh my gosh, where was I at?
It was difficult to find tag teams to wrestle.
Yes, so it was difficult to find tag teams to wrestle because, again, there was not a woman in the indie scenes, and it will get difficult because we will wrestle the same people almost all the time too, and we just wanted to expand ourselves. So we would travel a lot to Georgia and Alabama and other places, and we were getting ready to do a lot of other bookings together as well. And I really like the foundation we built together. But currently now, it is kind of hard because I guess I was so used to being a tag team. But I'm trying to find myself with this. I'm trying to find good ways for Jocy J to continue on, without how I was dependent on my tag team partner and she was dependent on me. We always leaned on each other for a lot of things. So it's kind of hard it's going to take a lot of adjusting to really expand like by myself. Right. So it's not I'm not going to say it's really easy right now because it's not, but I know down the road it will get easier. I just had to continue and just believe in myself more because I know Jocy J, she was a big deal with J2B, but I know she could be even bigger deal by herself. And I wish BB the best and whatever she decides to do in the future, but I know that I am going to continue this and I'm not going to stop for anybody.
You could definitely say this is a new chapter for you in your wrestling career.
Yes, it is definitely a new chapter, and it's actually new beginnings. I am trying to change a lot from what Jocy was in J2B, because a lot of the things we did together, like our gear was the same, our wrestling, like our tag team moves, we always did it together, and I rarely had moves for myself, and she rarely had moves for herself, so we were trying to learn as we went on to, like our single matches, we would learn to do stuff on our own, and it's kind of difficult now where it feels like I erased everything. Like, oh, I don't have a tag team partner, I can't do these moves anymore, so I'm gonna have to start a whole new move set. I'm gonna have to start a whole new gear, doing everything different. But I'm not gonna say, oh, it's impossible to do it, so I'm gonna quit. No, it's not impossible. I can do it, and I will do it. It's just gonna take a lot of getting used to. So I would say it's a new chapter, but it's also a new story and new beginning.
Well, I mentioned, you're the current EGCW Women's Champion.
Yeah.
But you did capture singles gold in February of 2023, the ICCW title.
Yeah, the LCCW Women's Championship as well. I held it, and I never lost it. It's just the LCCW, the promotion, it shut down, so I don't think it currently exists anymore. But I was their champion from February, basically till now. I don't really know if they're continuing to wrestle somewhere else. I don't know if the promotion's still running somewhere else, but I don't think they're in Florida anymore, but I was their champion, yes.
So you were a calendar year champion right now.
Yes, technically, yes, I am. I think more than 480 days. I'm not sure. It's somewhere around there. I know I surpassed CM Punk's reign for sure.
But at that time, being, earlier in your career, what did that kind of mean to you to capture your first, singles championship?
It meant a lot because that wasn't my first singles championship, but it was my first singles championship outside of the school I was training at. So it felt good, and it felt like a really good accomplishment. Like, I could do this without them. I could do this. Whether I have their support or not, I'm going to continue myself. I'm going to continue my career. I'm going to continue with Jocy J and everything she has to offer. I'm going to continue, and I'm not going to let anyone hold me down. And I really did deserve that win because I went through so much couple months prior to that, and it really was a special moment. And I really felt like I told myself afterwards, I was like, dude, if you could do this, imagine what else, like the power you have to win so much more. And this is only the beginning, girl. You could continue this, and you could really capture so much more than just what you were doing at that school. So I think after that, it was kind of hard to go to different places because they didn't have a lot of women's division and they didn't have women's titles. So I was like, let's see. I was trying to scout. I was like, let's see if I could win a men's title and be the first ever to do that, But 2023 was kind of short-lived. I wrestled from just January to July, so I didn't have a lot to. We didn't go a lot of places where they were championships. Now I know if I completed the whole year, I probably would have won something else. But I know that this year I have high hopes for myself to probably continue capturing gold. So again, back to my first title win, like booking wise. That was actually a pretty solid moment. I was like, damn, I just won a title from a different booking by myself.
Now, one of the names that you've wrestled is Amber Nova, very well known. Can you tell us about that experience?
Amber was actually there for when I first started, like wrestling in general. So her and I do have a lot of history there. I haven't wrestled her in a while, actually. So I would love to wrestle her again. I'm sure she would love to wrestle me too. that experience was, I would just say she's really light. She's really light on her feet, and I'm not saying just because of like her weight, but she's really light on her feet, and she's really easy to work with. Like it's always smooth with her in the ring, I would say. And she's the one that really brought out the character in me. Like, girl, you're a heel, use that character, you know. I would say when I first started, I it wasn't so I was nervous. It was just I was trying to explore myself. Like, what can I do to solidify this character to make sure, like, I'm not the one to be messed with, because that's my moniker. And I was like, I really need to push it out. And she was the one that really, like, pulled it out of me. She was like, you need to work that character. So I would say she is a start for me. Like, she was the start for me. So I really like wrestling her, and it's been a while, so I would love to do it again anywhere. So I think in the ring, she has a lot of ring awareness, I would say, and she really loves this, and she knows that how much I love this too. So like I said, like, she's really light on her feet. She's really airy with everything. Like, I don't know, everything's just beautiful in wrestling with her for some reason, you know. And it's like, it's easy, it's like a run in the field. That's how it is with her. And I always loved wrestling her, and I would love to do it again.
Okay. And that brings us to our next segment, Jocy's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh, okay, so I would say the craziest one was probably when I went to Alabama. So the ride was 6.5 hours long.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a long drive. And before we went off, I was actually really hungry that morning, and I didn't know what to eat. So my partner and I at the time, we were driving around everywhere that I lived. Mind you, I live in a ghost town in Florida. Like, no one knows where I am. So there's not a lot of places to really go and eat. So on the drive, I guess we just kept going, and we hit a Taco Bell. Mind you, it was like 9 a.m. And I was like, I don't even know what they have 9 a.m. And surprisingly, they have lunch 9 a.m, whatever. So I ordered like a quesadilla, and I was just like, there's no way they have it. So I was just doubting. I was like, there's no way they're gonna have like a good quesadilla at 9 a.m. Turns out they did. So I ate that, but like in the middle of, I guess, the 6.5 hours we were driving, I was like, dude, I need to use the bathroom. I guess Taco Bell just really does that to you. And Vivi was like, girl, I do not know this area, and I don't want to stop somewhere where it's not like safe. I was like, I do not care. I need to go. So we stopped at this weird gas station. I don't even remember the name of it. And I was like, dude, if I die in this bathroom, you know where to go. Like, just leave me here. I don't even know where this is at, but I really need the bathroom. So I went and we used it. And I was like, dude, we're going to be so late to this booking, because when you go to a different state, the time changes. So I think it was around like maybe 12 p.m. or so. And I was like, dude, I don't even know. He said we got to be there by 3. I don't know what time it's going to be when we get over there. So then after I used the bathroom, we continued. And then afterwards, we ended up at the promotion. We were there, but we didn't know where to go. And we were texting the bookers like, hey, where's the entrance? Where do we go? Like, we didn't know what to do. We got there on time. We went in, and it was in a ballroom, like the ring. And we kept going inside the hotel like, hey, we're wrestlers. We don't know where to go. The hotel crew didn't know what we were talking about. I was like, dude, we're in the wrong place. We're probably in the wrong state. I don't know what's happening. I started panicking. And I had called the person who told me to show up there. And I was just like, dude, they're saying they don't know anything about the wrestling. And I'm not waiting for you to get here because I don't know how far you are. We go in. And after we go in, we see like the ring was set up and everything. And I was like, how no one told us that? Why everyone's acting like the ring wasn't back here and that there was no wrestling, right? So then afterwards, we did our match and stuff. And then they gave us a key card for the hotel, like to stay at. But we were like, oh, I don't think we trust like staying in this hotel. And BB's like, you're going to want to do the drive back home. And I was like, I think that's the safest option right now because I'm not staying in this hotel. And they wanted us to stay with someone else. And we were like, we don't know that person either. So we literally decided to do the drive back home. The event ended at 10 p.m. and 6.5-hour drive. We didn't get home till like 6:45 in the morning. And we were just driving and we kept driving and I tried to keep her awake. And she was like falling asleep a little bit. And I told her, I was like, dude, forgive me. So I chucked a whole bottle of ice at her face so she could stay awake. And she was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, girl, you need to be awake. And I shoved ice down her back so she could like, I guess, have the reaction to like jumpstart, like be awake and keep driving. And we stopped at this place. We were still 3 hours away from home. We stopped at a place and we got a whole bunch of energy drinks. And afterwards, she drank so much and kept drinking them and kept drinking them. She drank like 4, I'm not going to lie. And then she was like, oh, snap, I have to pee. And I was just like, girl, no, we're nowhere near a gas station. Do you see where we're at? And she was like, screw it. She pulled up to the side of the road and she used the bathroom there. And I was like, no way. And I told her, I was like, if a bear pops up, I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you behind. Because we literally pulled it on the side and it was like a forest there. And we were like, oh my God. And then we were driving and the drive got longer out of like just, it felt like the drive got longer. We were like, we have 2 hours to get home and it felt like 4 more hours. On top of that, we were like, dang, we're hungry. So mind you, this happened all in just one day. We're like, dang, we're hungry. We pulled up to Wawa and we ordered like quesadillas. It was like probably like 3 in the morning, 2:40, 3 in the morning. We ordered quesadillas again. We were eating and I had texted my mom. I was like, dude, we're so far from home. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, can you guys just get home already? I was like, Mom, we're still far. So we continue to drive after that. And then we finally pull up to like my house and it was like 6:45. And my mom was like, look what time you're getting home. You're not doing this drive anymore. You guys should have been smart. She's yelling at us. We're like, Mom, we're tired. We don't have time for you yelling. So we're like, and I told BB and I told her, listen, you can sleep in my room and I'll sleep on the couch. So she slept. And then this was the craziest thing out of all. Her boss calls her at 7-something in the morning. Mind you, she just went to sleep and was like, oh, can you come in at 9? And BB was just like, dude, I just got home. And they were just like, well, if you don't come in, we're going to have to let you go.
Wow.
And she was like, wow, okay. And I was like, bro, if they tell you, and I told her, listen, the moment they tell you you could go home, do not stay longer. Do not get the OT. Don't even stay longer than you need to. And she was like, okay, I'll try. And I was like, no, don't try. Do it because I know you need your rest. I remember she literally texted me at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, 4 p.m. She's out of work. She was like, they had me pulling a double. So she literally stays from work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh, God.
And I was just like, dude, I know by the time you get home, you're just going to be dead on your bed because you're going to want to sleep the rest of the day. So that was the craziest thing. It just came full circle from start to finish. It was the craziest drive ever. I know that was a long story, but that's what happened.
Oh, no worries. We're here for the stories. And that is definitely a bizarre adventure, to say the least.
Yes, that was
a full 24 hours.
Yes.
All right. Now, one thing about you is your ring gear, and it is usually always inspired by comic books. Can you tell us about that?
I usually use Marvel characters because I am a huge fan of Marvel. I love reading Marvel comics. I'm always keeping up with the new things. And I used to get a whole bunch of old school comics and read them. And I would say when I was younger, I wasn't so much of a Marvel fan. It was mostly my brothers. But I would say about 6 years ago or 5 years ago when Avengers Endgame came out, I hated the fact that I was lost the entire movie. I didn't know who was who, what was what was going on, because I wasn't really that much of a Marvel fan. And I just hated the fact that I sat there lost and my brothers knew what was going on and not me. So afterwards, my brothers saw that I really needed some catching up to do. So what they did was they made me go through a whole MCU marathon. So they made me watch everything from literally the first Iron Man movie all the way to Avengers Endgame again. So I watched all of them and I was like, damn, this stuff is really cool. Why did I ever miss out on this? Right? So my brothers were like, yeah, so this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And I would see that my brothers would always talk about it and I'll be left out. And I'd be like, damn, they talking about this stuff I don't even know. So after a while, I started getting connected with it. I started getting more into it. I started learning the whole lore of it, because when I was a kid, I only watched like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or the early X-Men films or like the Fantastic Four. I really wasn't into like Thor or Captain America or any of that, because I was like, oh, this is boring. But after a while, I was like, damn, you put all the dots together and this is actually really cool. So around when COVID hit, I started doing this huge poster of comic book quotes, like from certain characters. I will put quotes together. And then after I did the quotes together, I was really going into like each character, like what, like their origin. I was reading every character's origin story, and it got to the point where I was like, damn, this is really never ending. There's so many characters. I was like, dang, there's so many characters. There's no ending. And I was read everything. And at the time, there was this app where you could download Marvel comic books and read them. And I was just going through them like they were pieces of cookies, like just boom, 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 keep going. And I was like, damn, this is so much. And I would go to my brothers. I was like, did you know this? Did you know that? We were like, yes, we know this stuff. You're the one that doesn't. And I was like, dang, okay. So I studied it, like literally studied it as if I had a SAT tomorrow. I would literally study all those things. And it got to the point where when I first started wrestling, I didn't know what gimmick to have. I knew I wanted to be like a gangster type thing because I am from New York. So I wanted to do this gangster type thing, but I had no inspiration, like what colors I should have for my gear. And at the time, I was already into the Marvel lore, so I knew a lot about it. And my little brother was just like, why don't you just do Iron Man gear, like Marvel stuff? And I was like, you know what, dude, you're a genius, right? So I did not do Iron Man gear, but I started using like underrated Marvel characters first, like a lot that people don't know. So when they do see it on my account, I'm also teaching them something, if that made sense. So I was doing, I think my first gear was, General Ross from, I think the first Iron Man, and then he was in Hulk. Yeah. So we did General Ross, and I was like, damn, this is actually pretty nice. We did like all camo, and I was like, oh, we should do more of this. And at the time, like I just started working, so I didn't have a lot of money, and a lot of things were expensive. And BB at the time, she didn't have a job either, so we were trying to see what we both had in our closets that will make it work. And we did, I think before the General Ross gear, we would buy random shirts and just graffiti spray paint them. And I was like, this will have to work for now. And BB was like, I told BB, I was like, this is no correlation though. Like, this looks cheap, you know? And I know we just first started wrestling, but I want something cool. So we did the General Ross gear. And then we tried to do something else. And a lot of I would say, people that we were training with would tell us, like, listen, this is not working. You need good gear. It took me a while to get good gear. And then we were getting, like, heavily criticized by people who don't even have gear. So we were like, I guess this is a double, like, not double, but I would say you're criticizing me if you don't even have it, but whatever. So after a while, like, down the road, we went to this airbrush shop and we got our names airbrushed on our shirt. And that shirt, I put mine blue and red, and she put red and blue on hers as well. And I was just like, this kind of looks like Captain America, but Falcon, like when Sam Wilson was Captain America. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So after that, we were like, BB, I think we should continue to do Marvel-inspired gear. We just need to know how to do it. So BB was like, we need to know what exactly it is that we want to wear. Oh my gosh, we went through so many ideas, so many things. And it got to the point where I was like, listen, this was my idea since I was a kid. Mind you, I had drawings of when I was a kid of what gear I wanted to wear, what name I wanted, what theme song I wanted. I literally have a drawing that I was like, I'm going to be in WrestleMania 40. And obviously that didn't happen, but I have so many drawings of all those things. And one of my drawings was me in a hoodie, like a muscle hoodie with no sleeves and like some sweats, but like heavily decorated. And she was like, oh, I think that would be a good idea. And I was like, you think so? And I know I wanted that, but I think we were just debating, like, do we really want to wrestle in sweaters and sweats? And we were like, okay, let's just try it out. So we bought black hoodies and purple pants. So that was our first gear. We went back to that airbrush shop, and I explained to me, like, hey, this is exactly how we should have our gear. Purple on the black hoodie and black on the purple pants. And I didn't like the way it came out at first because they just ended up putting whatever they wanted and completely ignored what we had asked them to do. But we liked it enough to wear it. So we were wearing the hoodie, the sweats. I was like, it's actually pretty comfortable. No, I'm not going to lie. And that was our first ever Black Panther gear. And then after that, we wore that gear for a while. And I know COVID hit, so we stopped wrestling for a while. COVID hit my family, so I stopped wrestling for a while. And then when I came back, we did like X-Men Sentinel gear. So from there on, we just continued. And the thing is, we just had to correlate the colors together to create like who the character would be. So let's say if I wanted to do Rogue, I know I would have a yellow hoodie and green sweats. And then from there, I would decorate it however I wanted to, or design it however I wanted to. So I always wanted to do Marvel gear because my brother had suggested it. I just didn't know where to start. And then when we did, we just continued on with that. And then even now, I'm still continuing on, but it's hard because, like, again, we will always do it together. And when I started doing it on my own, it was always, and now it's different when I started doing it on my own. I started like 2 months ago. I started doing it on my own. And I always thought it was going to be harder because I don't really have a lot of like hoodies and sweats at the moment. So I'm going to have to get more because I did use them all previously with my other gear. And I only have like certain colors. So I'm going to have to figure out what will match with what to create who. But yeah, a lot of people are interested in our gear, and I always do gear inspos. But a lot of people are like, oh, they're interested in who I'm going to do next. So they always throw out these names. And I'm strictly Marvel, like I said. And so many people are like, oh, do Batman, do Flash, do Wonder Woman, do Cyborg. I'm like, really? Really? I told you I was strictly Marvel. I'm not doing those characters. I was like, now, they do have similar colors to Marvel characters. I'll do that. But I'm not doing DC. And then so many people are like, oh, what's wrong with DC? And I'm like, everything is wrong with DC. Are you kidding? But yeah, so most of the stuff is just strictly Marvel. And I always start with like the underrated characters and then work my way to the bigger characters. And I know a lot of Marvel movies have come out in the last couple of years, and I try to keep up with those certain gears. But when new characters get introduced to the movies, I'm like, I'm not doing them right away. They could wait. Because I already have my previous ideas, and I'm not going to drop those just to do one from the movie that's coming out, you know? So I always take my time with those things too. But I would give a sneak peek to my new gear that's coming out. I am doing Gamora, so that's really exciting. And I never really reveal my gears because I always like to keep it a surprise. But I am doing Gamora next, so that's really exciting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a lot more of an intricate process than, just drawing paint on a hoodie.
Yes, it really is. It's because I always want them a certain way. And it's not to be like a perfectionist or anything, but like, again, like I had said before, we do get heavily criticized for our gear because, oh, you're wrestling in hoodies. It's not professional. I'm like, but it's the gimmick. If it fits the gimmick, it should be fine. Right. And my gimmick is a gangster straight out of a comic book. So, of course, I'm going to dress up with bandanas and this hoodie and these sweats, because I'm from New York. But at the same time, I want the pop of color, and people could guess from there who I am. And it's a lot of graffiti, because that's exactly what I do. It's a lot of graffiti, and it's a lot of airbrushing, and it takes a lot of time. Like, a lot of the stuff doesn't come out perfectly the first time. So you don't even know how many times we've restarted. We had to rebuy stuff to redo the whole gear from top to bottom. Or if we mess up, we just paint it over with black and we restart again. And it's more than what people think it is. It's not marker, it's not paint, it's legit art if you look at it. It's real art. And it takes a lot of layers to make the colors pop as well. Especially if you're doing white on anything, you need to do at least 20 to 30 layers so it could pop out completely. And especially if the hoodie or the material that we're using is thicker, we have to really, sometimes you waste like 2 whole bottles of paint just doing it. But now with me by myself, I've used up 1 whole bottle and I get left with nothing else to finish the rest of the gear. So I'm going to have to switch up the colors. So it is a long, hard process. And I would say if you're really focused on it, it takes up to about a week or so. But if you just leave it be, it takes up longer, obviously. But especially if there's a lot to do on the gear to make the character pop out, it's a really long process. And there's times where I've spent an entire day just in the garage just doing my gear. Like from the time I wake up to 3 a.m. the next day, continuing. So it is a really long process.
Is there a personal favorite gear that you have?
I did. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of my gear. I'm just gonna say how it is. My old partner, she got rid of a lot of my gear because it was at her house. She didn't consult me. She just got rid of it. But my favorite gear was Green Goblin. There wasn't a lot of detail to it, and I had gave it to her so we could add more. I loved the Green Goblin because Green Goblin is my favorite villain of all time. So I really love that gear. And our Venom gear, those two are my favorite. But that's when we had first started, when our first year in, we did those two. And I would say my current favorite gear right now is probably Deadpool. I loved actually doing him. I did him around April last year. So I would set up how I would want the gear and BB would do it. But I will always stay up with her to make sure like everything was aligned and everything was right. And the Deadpool gear took a lot of time because it was a lot of black on the gear. So because it was a red hoodie and red pants, and we just did a lot of black. And like I said before, we took up like maybe 2.5 bottles of just black paint to make sure the whole thing came out right. So Deadpool probably is my favorite to date.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your favorite Marvel movie?
Oh my gosh. Dang, my favorite Marvel movie? I would say, since I grew up on it and I constantly watch it, will be the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. 2002, that was my favorite movie.
Hell yeah. That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, you actually attended WrestleMania 37, which is,
yes, I did.
A significant WrestleMania because, obviously the world, completely shut down prior to that.
Yes.
But what did it kind of mean? What perspective did you get on your own wrestling career attending literally the biggest, show that in your field?
First, that was actually my first WrestleMania ever. So I was already excited. I was like, this is the dream. Like, I'm living the dream right now. Like, I'm going to WrestleMania. Like, it was so cool. And at the time, my partner and I, we had got like the nosebleed seats, but I didn't really care because I was just like, listen, we're at Mania. And we got there pretty early, so we still saw like the production team still like putting things together. And I just had like a moment where I was like, damn, I can't wait to be on that stage in front of all these people and just them cheering me on and walking down that ramp and just taking in the moment. I just can't wait for that day. And our friend was there, and he brought us down to the front row from all the way from nosebleeds. He brought us down, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually freaking awesome. And at the time, because my favorite wrestler of all time is CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Like, those two are my favorites. And I just know that when we got down there, I lost my mind for Edge, because that was the first time I ever saw him live, and I never thought I'd actually ever see him live.
Right.
So I was like, oh my gosh. I got to see Edge and Daniel Bryan, and obviously Roman Reigns, that main event. And I was just sitting watching that main event, and I was like, wow. Like, I was in awe, because I know that the first ever women's main event was in 2019, and I was like, wow, this main event was actually pretty crazy. And I remember I looked over to BB, and I had told her, I was like, dude, I can't wait to main event WrestleMania one day. Like, being in this type of crowd and how the crowd was going crazy, I was like, this right here is where it's at. Like, I need to be main event Jocy J. Like, it needs to happen. And she was like, we just have to continue. And I was like, of course, I'm not gonna stop this just cause. So it was really an awesome moment. And I just hope they come to Florida again, because I would love to go. And I would say that from start to finish. Oh, and that was the last time I actually got to see Bray Wyatt before he passed, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And I lost my mind for Bray Wyatt. I lost my mind because he was actually, I grew up watching him. So it was really awesome to see him and how much he's evolved and changed. And I just wish I got to see him now. And I know this year he probably would have been at WrestleMania 40 as well. So it was really something that broke my heart too. But I'm glad I got to see him as well. And that was actually one of my favorite matches of that night. Even though I didn't like the way it ended, but it was actually one of my favorite matches. But yeah, what I was saying before Bray Wyatt, sorry, that just popped in my head. But like, the main event really made me think, like, damn, I really need to be here. Like, that main event specifically was like, damn, I really need to do this. And I just, in my mind, I just kept telling myself, you need to continue. And a lot of people don't know this. I try to make it as public as possible, but a lot of people don't know I suffer from asthma. So a lot of it, when I first started, was really hard to continue, because my asthma was the main factor of me stopping. And I had to take a lot of breaks because my lungs were really in danger, I would say. And I couldn't go through a whole practice without taking my asthma pump. And I wanted to push myself to the point where I didn't need that damn pump. I didn't need a fertilizer. I didn't need a oh my God, I forgot the name of it.
Inhaler.
No, not inhaler. It's the machine. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I didn't want the machine. I didn't want the inhaler. I didn't want any of that. The nebulizer, that's what it's called. I didn't want the nebulizer. I didn't want the inhaler. I didn't want any of that. And I just kept pushing myself and pushing myself so I could continue to wrestle without almost dying, because every time I would feel my chest just burn up, and I would have so many asthma attacks that it wasn't even normal. It wasn't. And I just knew, watching WrestleMania, I was like, I really need to better myself, because to be in a main event of Mania, and it's like 25 minutes, 30 minutes long in a match, I really need that stamina, and I cannot keep going with these asthma problems. So it's still difficult to this day, but I always push myself, and I was like, if I die in a ring, I die in a ring. I go out doing what I love, but I just hope to God that my match was the shit. You know what I mean? I hope my match was the greatest. And that's always been my mentality. So right there, like, again, like the main event of WrestleMania 37, I was like, damn, I really need to be there, and I need to work on myself, because I do believe in myself to get there, and I do believe that I could make it there. So I just pray to God every day that I can and be the best that I could be, the best version of myself. So WrestleMania really is always about that. So I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Every minute.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, can you tell us about Slizzle?
Oh my gosh. So Slizzle was actually okay. So I had wanted that to be my alter ego at one point because I was always a heel. And I was like, if I turn babyface, that would probably be my nickname. And I got that nickname because I love Eminem. Eminem is one of my favorite rappers. He is my favorite rapper. I love him to death. And in one of his songs, he calls himself Slizzle. And I was always playing that song, right? So at one point, I will always pop up with like Eminem music in my ears, and people will always be like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" I'm like, "Oh, Eminem." And they were like, "Oh, you're trying to be like a Slim Shady or something?" I was like, first off, I'm not slim and I'm not shady. So I'll always say that, but I was like, it's not really a diss to him. I'm just saying I'm not slim and I'm not shady. And they will be like, "Oh, you know," and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, he's not going to know who you are, blah, blah, blah." Because I always call him like, "Oh, he's my dad," because his music raised me. I will always say that. And on top of that, he made a song with Snoop Dogg. You know, Snoop Dogg is always like, "Fish is a wizard," always saying those things.
Yeah.
And I remember I kept playing that song, and Slizzle kept popping up, and I was like, "Dang, I like that name." And then people were just like, "Oh, so you're just gonna be Slizzle now?" Like people in high school, and I was just like, maybe. And at one point, one of my posts, I was like, my alter ego will be Slizzle, and oh my gosh, I was so old. You just brought back a memory. I know, and a lot of people always be like, "What up, Slizzle? What up, Slizz?" And I'd be like, just call me Joss. We could forget about the whole Slizzle thing, please. Just forget about the Slizzle thing. And I know I will post videos sometimes saying the lyrics of that song. I won't say the song now because that's a curse word in the beginning, but it's with him and Dre and Snoop Dogg, and I love that song so much. So Slizzle just came out because I loved Eminem. So that was just a random name, and I liked it at the time. But trust me, no one calls me that anymore.
So we won't be seeing the debut of Slizzle anytime soon.
No, oh no, no.
All right. Now, can you tell us about your birthday cake being the Mustafar scene from Star Wars?
Oh yes. Okay, so that is one thing that I've always been a fan of as a kid. It's always been Star Wars, and I'm a huge fan. Like, it's not to be cheesy, but I'm a huge fan of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker. So, it took me a while to try and find like a good birthday cake because it's for my 21st birthday. So I was like, you know what? I really like Star Wars, and I've never even channeled like my inner Star Wars. Like, I never got a cake or a birthday theme or like a shirt or anything. And I'm like, damn, people are gonna be like, "Oh, you don't even look like a Star Wars fan." And I'm like, you know what? I do know the lore, I do know everything. I do know a lot about Star Wars. So I remember last year I was like, you know what? I want a Star Wars cake. So I know that I couldn't find the Lego pieces because everyone was doing Lego pieces, and I was like, where are they getting these Legos from? And the Legos were expensive, just saying. Oh, yeah. And I ended up getting the original action figures from Revenge of the Sith on eBay, and they were actually really cheap. And I was like, wow, you're selling Star Wars figures for $10? That's a steal. So I know I got Obi-Wan, and I had gotten Anakin. So the day of my birthday, my mom and I were making it together, and I know I wanted a huge tower of just like the brownie so Obi-Wan could stand on it, but we didn't have enough. So it was just there, like a slant kind of, and I put Obi-Wan there, and I put Anakin on the bottom. And my little brother, he remade the video because he loves Star Wars too. So he remade the video of, I have the high ground, and he was like, the whole scene of the Battle of Mustafar. So he did the whole video on his phone, and I was like, please don't post that. I was like, please don't post that. But it was one of the best birthday cakes I ever had. And I just wish I had it as a kid, but growing up, my mom's always like, girls get girly cakes, boys get boy cakes. So I was like, dang, that's kind of messed up. But as I got older and I had more freedom with what I wanted on my birthday, I was like, you know what? I want to do the Battle of Mustafar of Revenge of the Sith cake. And my mom was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I was like, what am I going to be nervous for? There's nothing to be nervous about it. I'm the one who's going to be tearing up the cake. But It wasn't. I think that was last year. And I know when I turned 18, I did the cake of Undertaker burying AJ Styles
Yes.
in WrestleMania. Oh my gosh, 36,
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
36.
So I did that cake, and I was like, every year I want to do a crazier cake. And when I was 19 and 20, I didn't get to have like those type of fun theme cakes, so I wanted to do one again this year, and I loved every second of it, and it was really good. So.
Now, well, when it comes to Star Wars, do you watch? How do you watch it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or do you do 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3?
I always do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hate 7, 8, and 9. I hate it. But I do watch the shows more. I would say, like, I grew up watching Clone Wars, so I love watching that show. I never get bored of it. I am still trying to catch up on the newer shows. Like, I'm trying to catch up on Mandalorian. I still have not yet to finish it, only because I know that was a big thing in high school, and I didn't really have Disney Plus at the time, so I didn't really know where to watch it. So I was like, I'll just catch up when I have money, I guess. So I'm still trying to catch up on Mandalorian. I did watch the Obi-Wan show. I did watch Boba Fett. I did watch what was the other show? I know there was one more. Ahsoka. I watched Ahsoka, and I fell in love. I mean, I've always loved Ahsoka since Clone Wars, but it was a really good show. But yeah, when it comes to the movies, I always go 1, 2, 3 first, always.
Yeah, but personally, I just have OCD and I can't watch 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I can't either. I can't. And not to mention, it's not a bad thing, but 4, 5, and 6, since they're like so old, it takes a while to even get through all of them, and without you getting bored sometimes too. So it takes a while, and you have to really be in the mood to watch 4, 5, and 6.
Well, which one's your favorite?
I think I would say Attack of the Clones episode 2. I really like that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, keeping on the at the topic of cake, you do bake yourself as well, no?
Yes, I do. I am a home baker. Yeah, I started when I was a kid. I would help my mom all the time bake stuff because she's actually a home baker as well. So she will always bake so many things, and she has a whole recipe book. And I will always, like I said, I will always help her with stuff. And I didn't really get into baking by myself until probably my senior year of high school. I would try and bake a lot just to surprise like my family. And it all started off with like cakes or cupcakes and things. And then after a while, I wanted to do more stuff like donuts and like peppermint patties or honey buns, and cheesecake. Like I always try to expand it because I was always trying to find a plan B, just in case, because my health at the time, like in 2022 around there, like my health wasn't the best, and I was like, if wrestling doesn't become my dream, I do need something to back it up, because my first dream ever was to be a fashion designer, and that went out the window because I didn't get to do it in New York after I moved down here. So there's not really a lot of opportunity down here to be a fashion designer. So I just, maybe in the future I could probably get it, but now I don't think I could, because there's just a lot of factors that play into that, and I just wouldn't have time at the moment because I really love my wrestling. So the fashion designer was out, and I was like, wrestling is my one and only plan. This has to be. But since my health wasn't doing so well in 2022, like I did have a lot of back problems and a lot of problems with like my uterus and stuff. So I was like, maybe if this isn't the biggest plan, I do need a backup. So I was constantly baking, perfecting it, trying to see what else I could do. And at one point I thought even about selling this stuff, but I was like, that takes a lot of time to bake so much just to sell. And I don't even know if I'll get through it, because with my anxiety, I'll probably just mess up everything. And I was like, if I bake, it'll just be for everyone at home. So I do try to post here and there the stuff I bake and try to make a lot of things homemade. But it is still something I do enjoy. But after I would say after yesterday I baked brownies and I suck at baking brownies. So I don't even know why I even tried. But I baked yesterday and here and there I'll bake, but I'm trying to, I wouldn't say let go of it, but I'm trying not to bake as much because I do have a sweet tooth. So I was like, I can't keep eating these things. I need to stop because I lost 35 pounds, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna ruin it because the moment I eat one thing, I'm gonna continue eating, and I don't want to get back to the way I was. So I haven't baked in a long time, but yesterday was the last time, and before that, last time I baked was for Christmas. So it's just a lot of time in between, but I do enjoy it from time to time, though.
All right.
Mhm.
I mean, you could it's always you said that the brownies weren't as good, but you could always perfect them in the future.
Yeah, in the future, yeah.
All right. Now, can you tell us about this? If there's any significance to having an Elvis quote tattooed?
Oh, so I'll explain that. So I've always been an Elvis fan since I was a little girl. My mom introduced me to his music, and my grandma, she did as well. And Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite movies ever. And I knew a lot of his songs from that movie specifically. And from that, I would always listen to his other songs that weren't as popular. And then when the Elvis movie came out, the song "If I Can Dream" was playing, and I didn't know that song when I was a little girl. So from that movie, I fell in love with the song, and I will constantly listen to it after the movie. And I was like, oh my God, I love this song. I just can't believe I missed this when I was a kid. I was so mad at myself. And I was like, I really loved it. So after a while, my favorite quote in the song was, "But as long as a man has the strength to dream, he could redeem his soul and fly." And I was like, I really like that. But I wanted to do it in my POV, my perspective. So I had put, "But as long as I have the strength to dream, I could redeem my soul and fly." And that means a lot to me, especially since I got that tattoo after my accident. And I was like, I cannot let my dream die. I really need to push myself to get back into this ring. And the only reason why I got this quote was because of my wrestling dream. Because if I can continue dreaming, I can redeem myself and continue to keep going and fly eventually, because the accident was so bad, I legit almost lost my life. And every day I think about it damn, if I wasn't here, I don't think I could. Obviously, I couldn't do anything if I wasn't here. But if I wasn't here, I don't think I would. I know if I wasn't here, I know my dream would have died with me, and I don't think my partner would have continued it. That's just how I felt, and I just pray. I just thank God every day that I'm actually here and I could continue this. So Elvis's quote really did help me a lot. And my family was like, "Damn, you got an Elvis quote before an Eminem quote." I was like, "Yeah. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. His quote will come soon." So it really did mean a lot to me, and that quote will always stick with me forever. Obviously, because it's tatted, but in my heart, I know that if I could continue dreaming, my dreams will come true. So it really does mean a lot.
So what Eminem tattoo are we getting next?
I would get, because there's so many songs he has that are motivating, and I want the perfect quote. So I do have a couple lined up. I'm still having trouble to choose them. A lot of my friends are just like, put all of them. I'm like, you guys don't get it. I just want one. So I was like, if I could get all of them, I would, but that's a lot of money. You're not going to pay for the tattoo, guys. So I think the one I would get is the line in Lose Yourself. Towards the end, he's like, "Success is my only mother effing option. Failure's not." So I think I'd get that one. Success is my only option, failure is not. And that one actually means a lot to me because I cannot fail in this life. I can't. I really need to find success. and I pray that it's always in that wrestling ring. And I know I can make it. I believe in myself, and success is right now my only option. My only option. I cannot fail, because then I'm gonna be stuck in this house forever.
So, not Slizzle.
No, not Slizzle. Oh my gosh.
That's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say that they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Ooh, that one's a good one. Oh, I think the first song will probably be Phenomenal by Eminem. I would definitely put that.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Hold on. Too much pressure.
Pull up that Spotify list.
I know, right? Probably Till I Collapse by Eminem and Nate Dogg as well. And Flashing Lights by Kanye. Definitely those 3.
Okay. And a solid 3 picks, to say the least.
Yes.
Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you do the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays Jocy? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Yes. Yes. I wouldn't know who to choose me, only because I would want my entire life story, not just a fragment of it. And my life, I struggled a lot with weight, and I wouldn't want to put any actress through that process of gaining weight just to play me. Or I don't know, probably they just do makeup and not even gain the weight to do so, but I wouldn't want them to alter their appearance just to play me. But if I did have to choose one, let me get her name, because I know her face, it's not her name. Give me 1 second.
What was she in?
I got her right here. Isabella Merced. Her. She was in Transformers 5. She played the live action Dora.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if I were to choose someone, I think it would be her. I obviously would need someone Latina to play me, because I did grow up in a Spanish household and I am Hispanic, so I think I would choose her. Oh, and she was just in the Madam Web movie too, so I think a lot of people know her. But I would definitely choose her to play me.
Well, I would say they definitely don't know her from Madam Web.
Yeah. Yeah, Madam Web had a lot of potential, but Sony ruins everything.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Oh, I would say my mom would definitely be one of them. And I would say my 2 brothers. They've been with me from, obviously, since we were kids, and they know everything I've been through, and my mom as well. So I know they would have a lot to do with like the script and what exactly happened. Now to play them, I'm not sure. I'll probably play my mom. Because I look so much like her, so I'd probably play my mom. I don't know. For my brothers though, I don't know a lot of like young Hispanic actors who could like play them, but it would have to be someone like two Hispanic boys to play obviously my brothers, and then with Isabella, who will play me, and then I don't know who will play my mom, honestly.
We could leave it up to casting.
We'll. You know what? I'll probably be with them. Like, hey, let's see who looks the most like my family, and we'll work from there. I just know that they had to really get my mom's New York attitude down, and her Hispanic, all the Puerto Rican side and stuff like that. As long as they nail it down, I wouldn't have a problem.
All right. And it's clearly going to be a big blockbuster, and you could pre-order the tickets now.
I love that.
Now, onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I love pineapple on pizza, and I think it's a really good combination. I just think people think it's weird because it's fruit, but once you grill it, bake it, it actually goes well together. And with me, I actually like my pineapple pizza with a little bit of ham, a little bit of bacon, a little bit of jalapenos to add the spice, and it all goes well together.
Okay, so very pro pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
What's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon? Probably Charizard, I would say.
All right. Gotta love the OGs.
Yes.
Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't think I remember.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a Doug can't spell.
Oh, that's messed up. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh well.
We love the late great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive.
Yes.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
No. I want to wrestle a Rock. Now, the Rock, sure, but a Rock? I don't think so. The Rock will probably a Rock will probably kill me and pin me 1, 2, 3.
Well, just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh.
And he did
I hope he was okay after.
He was. I mean, he tore up like all the ligaments in his legs, but
oh Lord.
Yeah, and he didn't win the match either. So
Oh, this is why we don't do stupid things, guys. Keep your legs intact.
It was storyline based. He didn't actually tell anything.
Oh. Okay.
All right. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, hopefully, I'm in NXT showing everyone why I'm the next best thing.
Okay. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are all about?
Like my match, or like a match that I like?
No.
Like one of my matches?
One of your matches when somebody says, what are you all about? You'll show them this match to show them who you are as a wrestler.
I just wish it was recorded better, but I would say is when it was my partner and I versus 2 other male teams. We really showed out that night, and of course we didn't win, but that match we really showed what we were about. It was against Kiss It, and our RJ and his partner Alex. So it was really a good time. It's Riley, part of the boy band, I believe, and then Alex Ramos. We wrestled them. So it was like it was 6 people. It was a 3-way tag match, and it was actually one of the best I've ever did.
And we could find that on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. And
I'm calling it
the lighting wasn't so great because we were right under like 4 lampposts. So the camera angles, the camera person tried to get their best like camera angles in the match, but the lighting was really powerful, so you can't really see everything, but you could see most of it.
Okay.
That's why I had said earlier that I wish it was better lighting.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will look for that match on YouTube, and I will take the link and I will put it in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
Yes.
Alright, and since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Okay.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
CM Punk.
Worst wrestler.
Jillian Hall.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Probably Austin Theory.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Mark Henry, 3-6 Mafia.
Hell yeah. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Important and alive.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Okay.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Dang, I thought it was a veggie.
It has seeds, so tomato logic.
Oh, okay. All right.
New Japan Pro Wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I know everyone has different ways of wearing their gear, but I would say maybe wear your trunks to mid-thigh or even right below your knee. That's perfect.
So complete and utter coverage.
Yes.
Alright, and the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I have not.
And that is the correct answer.
I don't think a lot of people talk about Darby Allin enough, so.
Right, and I've actually done that, and I have not come up with an answer yet.
So, hopefully, maybe in the future we could.
Maybe. He's a little bit more well-known than when the last time I've done it, so, you know.
Yes.
That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, where can we find you on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram at BX J, Facebook Jocy J BX, and on YouTube, Jocy J is J2B, and my Twitter, the Jocy J1. Don't forget to add me on that as well.
And merchandise is coming up.
Yes, the merch is coming up. Just stay tuned, guys.
Okay. And you could stay tuned on her social media. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below. But on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. you have no excuse. Give her a damn follow, and when she gets merchandise, buy a damn shirt.
Yes.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. But on YouTube and Castbox, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Dread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at James J. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Yes.
For always special guest Jocy J, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit
Entertainment!
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.